and you make mistakes sometimes. You learn from your mistakes, and then finally one day you realize ki, you know whom to believe, whom not to believe, and what to believe.
There are so many different characters and everybody is in a different light. Like you've never seen Adi like this before, you've
Absolutely
never
true.
seen me like this before,
Yeah.
you've never seen Sakib like this, you've never seen Sabah. So I think that gravitated all of us for this.
He is relevant even today. Yaar. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not easy. And I have huge respect for people like Sudhir Mishra, Gulzar Saab, Javed Akhtar, who have lived across generations. मतलब Gen X, Y, Z सब गया, लेकिन ये बंदे है उधर ही यार.
It's how you tell the story that's very important, and who's telling the story is more important.
First of all, congratulations on whatever Crambeat has, managed to get to you so far. Good laurels,
Thank you.
really, really good things coming in. I literally interviewed Sai right 2 days before for another show, and it's just great. My question right away to the both of you is that, Crambeat jaisa show, jahan pe, the idea of journalism is obviously explored in a much different way, right? Lekin the portrayal of journalism the portrayal of cop, which of course Adinath sir plays, वो जो चीजें हैं वो इतनी डन एंड डस्टेड इन जनरल हो चुकी होती है दैट द ओनली वे टू गो अबाउट इज जस्ट कम अप विद अ न्यू वे एंड समहाउ व्हिच इज हैज टू बी डिफरेंट इन द स्टोरी लाइन. बट माई क्वेश्चन इज दैट जब एज एक्टर्स यू प्रोबेबली कम अक्रॉस स्क्रिप्ट्स लाइक दिस जहां पे बार बार प्रॉमिस किया जाता है एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अ वेरी open perspective, how do you make sure that you differentiate okay this is not going to be a part of the same old flock and genuinely be different?
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आप ज्यादातर हिंदी फिल्में देखो, सबका मोरल लेस प्लॉट एक ही है, राइट? It's how you tell the story that's very important, and who's telling the story is more important. And in our case, Mr. Sudhir Mishra is telling the story, so it has to be different. uh, when an actor or a director comes on board, he or she comes with his own texture, his own colors. And I think the same applies to the director as well. I think it's very important who's telling the story. So I think even if we felt that, okay, this plot has been done before, we were most excited because Mr. Sudhir Mishra was going to do it. Adi, over to you.
Yes, please, Adi.
I completely agree with Sai. I think the team, we were more excited with the team, Sudhir sir, Sanjeev Kaul, and the co-actors. And of course, as you said, your question was what is done and dusted. Our fear of doing something that is done and dusted. So I think, see, if it's not on the paper, it can never be on the screen. But I think when you're working with Sudhir Mishra, Sanjeev Kaul, the people with such experience, you know it's going to be a great script. And when we heard the script, we knew it's going to be a great show. And it was something I was looking forward to, especially my character, because
Hmm.
it was something completely out of my comfort zone. I'd never played a Delhiite before. So played
Mhm.
a
Right.
Delhi cop with Delhi accent, and that was definitely not easy. But of course, a great team, great support system, so we could achieve all this.
I'd like
Awesome,
to
awesome.
add one more thing,
Please.
Kunal. कभी कभार ना उल्टा भी वर्क करता है कि
Hmm.
ओके, ये डन एंड डस्टेड है तो हम कैसे अलग करें।
Hmm.
कभी कभार ये ऐसा भी वर्क करता है। सो आई
Yeah,
थिंक ये सब हुआ होगा। हम हमें बिल्कुल डन एंड डस्टेड नहीं लगा, बल्कि हमें ऐसा लगा कि there are so many different characters and everybody is in a different light. Like you've never seen Adi like this before, you've
Absolutely
never
true.
seen me like this before,
yeah,
you've never seen Sakib like this, you've never seen Sabah. So I think that gravitated all of us for this.
totally.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And of course, y'all already, mentioned the fact that the fantastic Sudhir Mishra was at the helm of it. And
Yeah,
I think, sometimes that alone it's a selling point. Sometimes the person is going to helm the project, and especially when you have a legend like he does. So my question is that, sometimes as actors also, both of you have been doing work for decades now, right? Obviously across industries and everything. When you know and you've heard so much about the legend of a particular director, how much preconceived notions do you come with, and how difficult it is to combat that and work with him on that project?
for me, it was my second time I was working with Sudhir sir.
Yeah.
In fact, I can proudly say that Sudhir sir was the one who recommended me for this character.
Right.
Yes.
Amazing.
So, scholar type moment for me. But What a man, yaar, he is. What a man. I mean, I am in awe of Sudhir Mishra. Uh, right from Jaane Bhi To Yaro, right from the 80s till 2025, an artist, a creator is creating content continuously and staying relevant. He is relevant even today. Yaar. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not easy. And I have huge respect for people like Sudhir Mishra, Gulzar Saab, Javed Akhtar, who have lived across generations. मतलब Gen X, Y, Z सब गया, लेकिन ये बंदे है उधर ही यार.
Right.
Hats off to them. But what a man! You can talk to him about anything in this world. He can get along with people of all age groups. I used to
Yeah.
notice that on the set.
Yeah.
Anybody, बच्चे से लेके बुजुर्गों तक. He used to,
Absolutely.
obviously because of his knowledge, his experience, and everything. But another wonderful thing I experienced working with him was his. Of course, that comes with his experience and confidence. Everybody knows the script. He knows the script. The actors know the lines. But on the set, he just keeps it aside and just starts,
Right.
afresh with the actor's situation. And I think that also creates the magic that happens in his work. Yeah, Sai, over to you.
Hey, please take over.
कुणाल, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे डिक्शनरी में किसी भी तरह का प्री कंसीव्ड ये शब्द है ही नहीं. I go
Nice.
with a clean slate and I then want to take the emotions over because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि then I would love to get surprised, I would love to get disappointed, I would love to get whatever happens.
Yeah.
So there were no preconceived notions. I just knew that I was a fan of his work, and I knew that if he is telling the story, it will be something different. It will have his own texture, it will have his own colors. And like Adi correctly said, that man can talk to a Gen Z, can talk to his own age group, and he's
Yeah.
still relevant. He has a great sense of humor. So it's just so much fun to be around him. Even it's enriching to be directed by him. So we've had a lot of fun. We have enjoyed every moment of his company on this set.
Super, super. That's perfectly fitting. And of course, as I mentioned, the both of you have dabbled across industries, and obviously, there is something that so much has changed thanks to the. We keep talking about the advent and the constant revolution that OTT has brought in, but both of you have rather different trajectories when it comes to dabbling in Marathi industry and as well as the Hindi industry. So you've been more frequent with Hindi projects now more than ever. And sometimes obviously it's about timing. Sometimes ऐसा होता है कि कर दिया होता है सब आता साथ में and everything. But parallelly, Adi, you have a very different approach. You've been rather selective. There have been instances where you've come and not really, and but of course you are both of you are legends of Marathi industry.
I would like to add,
I
this
would say that
man
is
here,
Sai. That is Sai. Yeah, Sai.
no,
Legend
this
is Sai.
man here,
Yeah,
he directs, he
I
produces,
know.
and
I've
he
seen Pani.
acts. Okay, so I have worked with him as a producer.
Yeah,
This was my first time working with him as an actor, as a
yeah.
co-actor. I'm just waiting for him to direct me now, and
How
I
sweet,
think
Sai. How sweet.
I've
Thank you.
never seen a boy who's more resourceful. I
True.
think his dad is a legend. He introduced
Of
Dolby,
course.
he introduced VFX, and I think he's a perfect person to take this legacy ahead. And I
Yeah.
think that's what he's doing. And all my wishes and all my energies with him.
True.
Thank you so
That's
much, Sai. That's very, very kind of you.
that's
No,
probably
but
fitting.
if there is
Sorry, Adi, please,
if
please.
there is a star on this video call, that is Sai
Has to be
Tamhankar.
Sai.
And not just a star, I am a huge fan of her work. Right
Right.
from her work, there was one film she had done called Anumati with
Yeah.
Rajin Zaire.
Yeah.
From that day, I've all been a fan of hers. Then Classmates, and then Hindi. What she's doing right now is phenomenal. It's amazing.
Sorry,
Sai.
हमारा म्यूचुअल एडमिरेशन के क्लब
No,
में
of course.
आपका
But that's fitting.
आपका आपका सवाल साइड में रह गया. आपका
But
सवाल
बहुत
क्या
सही, बहुत no, it's actually perfectly fitting to my question only. कि Adi, especially in your case, what has been the factor? Has it been a factor of scripts that have probably reached you, but obviously not really attracted you enough to be, more frequent? Or it's a case, as I go back to it, Pani is probably one of the best films in the past few years, and you've literally done everything Forget
देखो मैं अगर
production.
महेश कोठारी की लड़की होती ना, मैं काम भी नहीं करती।
हाँ,
ये आदमी काम कर रहा है और फायर्ड अप होके काम कर रहा है, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है।
Exactly. Please,
परसेप्शन,
please,
ये
Adi.
परसेप्शन है.
But yeah, Adi, so please tell me, what has been the factor? What's with it?
एक्चुअली मैं इतना नहीं सोचता यार, ऑनेस्टली.
Mhm.
इट्स जस्ट आई मीन गॉड इज काइंड, गुड वर्क हैज बीन कमिंग माय वे. I think now my dad has a very good philosophy which I follow in life. He says, चलती गाड़ी में सब चढ़ते हैं,
Hmm.
रुकी हुई गाड़ी में कोई नहीं चढ़ता, गाड़ी
Hmm.
चालू करे. So
नाइस।
Awesome.
whenever there has been a slump or there has been something slow happening in my life and career, you need to start something now. And that's when I started my direction of Pani. And when I got into the shoes of Pani, the director, the actor, when I came back, suddenly then all work started happening. I got 83, then I got City of Dreams, and then blah, blah,
Right.
blah. I
True.
think never wait for work to come. Just do your own shit.
Awesome. And say in parallelly for you, what has worked out so well? Because is it a factor, as I mentioned, is it timing, or has it been a factor that no, genuinely, 5 out of 10 scripts are that good enough that I really don't want to let them go, or it's timing? Please tell me.
Kunal, I think hard work and patience. There's nothing else. I think
True.
these are the, I mean, ये soul है हमारे profession के. This is a very integral part that
Right.
one has. I have never shied away from working hard, and I've never shied away from not taking up work if it's not up to the mark or if it's not something that I don't want to do. So I think that has helped, and that I am मी त्याची फळं खाते आता असं मला वाटतंय,
Yeah.
honestly.
But true, absolutely. And just a couple of things if you round up. Again, another factor about web shows, and I say web shows because there is scope for there is 8 episodes, there are 9 episodes. So even if the character is not necessarily central, so to speak, there's always scope for it to have a much longer presence, which obviously translates into something good, bad, which connects with the audience. And screen time is something lately it's completely been eradicated.
Yeah.
Someone having a 20-second screen time can make a bigger impact than a 3-hour screen time.
Yeah.
Right. But my question is that again, as actors, when you choose scripts and sometimes there are directors that come to you with that brief. Okay, आपका screen time कम है, लेकिन ये impact ज़्यादा करेगा. I'm sure that happens way often. How do you make sure with a clear head that what he's saying or she's saying and what I'm reading actually are in coherence with each other? Or is it a factor that you go with your instinct in that as well?
Can I say something? It's a combination of instinct
Mm-hmm.
and something. That something is, I think you need to have a talent to recognize the potential of a character. It is
Right.
very important. And I think in our profession is very important. Like Adi mentioned, Anumati mein, I must have had 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah.
But he remembers me in that film, So
Yeah.
I believe I have a talent to recognize the potential of a character. And it's a combination of your luck, instinct, and the potential to recognize a character or a part.
Well
True.
said. Well said. Yeah.
Adinath,
Good.
you please tell me.
No, I completely agree with Sai. Couldn't have said it better. It's a combination of all these things, yeah? And it also depends who is coming to you, who is telling you this, whether you can trust. Normally, it has happened with me that great script, good character, but कुछ अलग ही हो गया.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So obviously, you learn with experience also,
Yeah.
and you make mistakes sometimes. You learn from your mistakes, and then finally one day you realize you know whom to believe, whom not to believe, and what to believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but one thing is that you can always believe a good script.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always count on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And finally, the last thing before we round it up, having, started or having been in the industry, which is your language, I think that the rootedness always, I mean, I'm a Gujarati and I know that, there's always going to be a connect, which I have with that. So obviously, the great thing about regional films and industry right now, it's probably booming better than ever. Be it any language we pick out in in India right now. My question is that having worked and having been, having the amazing careers both of you have had in Marathi as well, what do you feel is the one thing, or, be it work ethic wise or be it otherwise, that the Hindi industry can probably, take a note from the Marathi industry?
to be honest, taking notes because see, the Marathi industry, the Hindi industry also today is being driven by Marathi talent.
Yes, yes.
Where we have people like Aditya Sarpotdar with Munja, Lakshman Utekar with Chhawa, Sai Tamhankar with Agni, Jitendra Joshi. All these guys are making waves in Hindi. And the only difference is the audience base.
Hmm.
And because the audience base is bigger, being national language, the budgets are different. So I don't think there are any tips as such. I think Marathi talent Marathi industry has always been a content-driven industry,
Yeah.
and because there's a lot of talent in Marathi, right? Because there's a lot of theater backdrop, there's a lot of we are very as Marathi audience, we are very rooted in our culture, our literature. So it's a very rich culturally and literature
Hmm.
rich uh, industry as such, I feel. So there's no tips you can give to Hindi. I think I would want to see is Marathi content transcending into pan India content,
Right.
and that what's happening with Malayalam cinema down south
Yeah.
should happen with Marathi content because we
Awesome.
have the
Sai.
potential. Yeah.
Hmm.
I have a very interesting take on this. I
Mhm.
think when it comes to Hindi, I think we could tell more rooted stories because we are culturally very rich.
Hmm.
I think, yeah, that can happen. It's not that it's not happening, but
Hmm.
that can happen more.
Yeah.
Secondly, when I just started off, Kunal, people used to be surprised that, oh, she remembers her lines. Oh, these are basic things,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, so I think that can be improved.
Right.
Uh, I think, yeah, things like simple things, basic things like these, I
Yeah.
think that can be taken from Marathi regional industry. I think Marathi actors are more adaptive,
Hmm.
more adjusting. I think that also can be learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think these three things.
Absolutely, absolutely. But thank you so much, guys. I
Thank you.
had an absolute, it's a brief period of time, but I had a great conversation with the both of you. I'm
Thank
going to be
you.
meeting you guys, of course, but I mean, all the best for everything you have lined up ahead. Crime Beat success continues and everything just keeps getting better for the both of you.
Thank you,
Thank,
Gunnar.
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. See you. Bye-bye.